Moss, Preston, Pearson, Moss, Roberts, Brunson, Baldwin, Fowler, Unger, Strauss, McAvoy, Keller, Smith, Johnson, Chan, Helmuth, Matt Luby, Doherty, Dasmalchi, Bechtel, Hamilton, Harrington, Seed, Unger, Nguyen, Furlong, Ferguson, Mortensen, Varconi, Moneymaker, and Raymer. Nobody remembers who came in second. You're watching The Poker Show from the World Series of Poker. Joining me, as always, my friend, Padraig Parkinson. Great show tonight. We've got Daniel Negreanu, Evelyn Ng, and a lot of good features. Stick me in, beat the bookie, everything on tap. But Padraig, kicking off tomorrow, the World Series of Poker. You got to be excited.
Well, of course I'm excited, Jess. You know, if you're not excited about the World Series of Poker, you're either not a poker player or you're not alive. Like, this is the event. You know, poker's got so big over the last few years. There's so many big events. There's so many seven-figure checks. But that all just pales into insignificance compared to this one. Believe me, this is the one all the players want to win. You know, this is where you find out, you know, what you are as a person, what you are as a poker player. This is your chance to write history.
35 years it's been at Binion's, 2005. Bit of a scene change. We're going to the Rio, and we were down there yesterday, Park. What'd you think about the setup?
Well, I'm a little bit biased, Jesse. I mean, I'm a Binion's man. You know, the first time I walked in the door in Binion's, just a little chill went down my spine. I mean, you can practically feel the history in the place. You know, you walk down through there and you see that wall with all the photographs of the world champions up there. And if that doesn't inspire you to play the poker of your life, well, you really shouldn't be here. But I suppose, you know, the game moves on, time moves on. There's probably going to be 5,000 players in the Rio that have never even heard of Binion's. Certainly were never there. Yeah,
they need size. We went down there yesterday. I'll tell you what, 60,000 square feet is the tournament room at the Rio, 200 tables, and it's about 1.5 miles from the front door of the Rio to the tournament area. Don't know what an advantage it is to even be staying there. But, Parg, we went down yesterday, checked out with Greg Gralva, who's one of the tournament directors there, got some facts about the World Series.
Each event will be capped off at 2,200 players, 2,000 plus 200 alternates. The main event, the big one, 6,600. That's our cap.
So a lot of capped out events, he says. But what was really surprising to me was what Greg said about the main event.
The main event will most likely be sold out by the third week of June.
Third week in June, main event is going to be sold out, 6,600. That's what Greg said. But Park, that'll mean $7.5 million for first prize. Everybody at the final table going to become a millionaire.
Well, you know, if you talk about this event in terms of the money, well then, you know, you're missing something. You know, this event isn't about the money. You know, poker the other 10 months of the year, that's about the money. But this event, this is about history. This is about taking your place in history, taking your chance. I don't really care. I don't care what they give.
Well, you'd be playing it if it was for $3, wouldn't you?
I'd be playing it if it was for nothing.
World Series of Poker is what it's all about. One guy who's been there quite often, Daniel Negreanu. And Parg, lately, Daniel, he's been all over the place.
Well, Daniel's a great player, and he's proved in the last couple of years that he's a great ambassador for the game. You know, he's really, really good with the fans. He's good with the journalists. You know, he's got patience. He's got time for everyone. And he's really impressed me. I was playing with him down in Tunica a couple of months ago, and there was this good old boy there from Tennessee, and he started talking to Daniel, and he said to Daniel that all these guys were big names 4 years ago. You know, they've now become very big-headed and arrogant, but the Daniel was the one guy that hasn't changed in the last 4 years. You know, and he was almost right, but of course the thing he forgot was that Phil hasn't changed in the last 4 years either.
Oh, did you say Phil Hellmuth? Without further ado, let's introduce our first guest. We're so excited to have him. 3 World Series of Poker bracelets. He's the defending champion this year at the World Series in the Limit Hold'em. Everybody's favorite to be best all-around player, a Canadian. Welcome, Daniel Negreanu.
Hi, Daniel. I'm in here.
Oh. You got my seat again.
All right, Daniel. World Series of Poker kicks off tomorrow. You're going to be playing probably every event, or just about. How do you stay in focus? What's your plan?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I play every event, that won't be so good, because I plan on not playing when I'm at the final table. So if I were to play in every event, that meant I just totally wiped out and didn't do anything good. But my focus, my plan is basically to just try to avoid anything that's like overexertion, partying, drinking, hanging out late, stuff like that. No fun whatsoever. Right.
Just playing.
Right.
You're doing something fun for the people on your website. You're doing a World Series of Poker Fantasy League, and you've been big in the fantasy league business for a while.
Right. Yeah, actually, this is the 4th year I'm doing the pool. Normally what we do is everybody throw in $500 and go with it, but this year I just wanted to focus on the poker and do it through the website. I have a guy who's running it for me, and I did a complete free roll, and I'm probably giving away well over $20,000 in free stuff. Like the first prize will be a $10,000 seat into an event. Oakley stepped up and is donating some thumps and things, and Stacked is going to donate some stuff. So,
who do you think makes the best player for a fantasy league team?
Well, one of the keys for the World Series Poker Fantasy League team is you got to have a guy that plays all the games, and also one that is going to concentrate on playing all the tournaments. So I could think I'd be all right as a pick.
Well, I'm proud to say
we hadn't thought of that one.
Right.
We've actually got a team that we chose on your site. We've put you on it, the Luck Box team. We're going to be excited to try and win something too. It's going to be fun. It's a fun way for people who aren't either playing or at the World Series to get in.
Well, basically, yeah. In general, what it does, it creates a lot of buzz. People are talking about, well, where do you put Phil Ivey? Do you put him high? Do you put him low? I don't think he's going to play a lot, and it just creates more of a spectator realm to it, and the idea that people are going to be watching every event with great interest in where they finish and things like that. Anything that creates more buzz is a good thing.
You've also been involved, obviously, with the Win, new poker room, new casino, and you've been playing a lot of heads-up matches lately.
Well, yeah, I've played 3 so far. Basically, the challenge is simple. I'll play anyone in the world, that includes Padre. Anything from minimum of 100,000 to 500,000. They pick the game, they pick the stakes. I say yes. Basically, it's that simple.
You haven't written anything bad about Barry Greenstein. I mean, what has he done? Have you done something to him? What has he got against you?
Barry is a nice guy, and I really do like Barry. You might not get that perception if you've heard some of the things. I needle him. I like to poke fun at him. Because realistically, from an ego perspective, he makes Phil Hellmuth look really humble. He does. He does. It's just, if you read some of the things that he says, it's like, wow, Barry, what happened to you? And I think, in a lot of ways, the whole media buzz has changed the way poker players view themselves in a lot of ways. And I think it's easy to sort of get carried away with the idea that, like, when people walk up to you and say, wow, can I get your autograph? This is so cool. If you start believing that hype after a while, you start to think, wow, I really am cool. No, you're not.
I thought you did believe it.
Does a player have to be successful in both cash games and tournaments to be considered top of the pops?
To be considered, it depends on who you're asking. I think if you're asking the high-limit cash game players, absolutely. If you're not able to compete at the highest level against the top players, then you're just another one of those tournament players. He misquoted or misinterpreted what I actually do, calling me like a second-tier or third-tier player. I play in the biggest games in the world, and Barry and I are going to play probably 9 matches for $500,000 each, so we're going to put up $4.5 million apiece and go at it in every different game. That'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
What do you think, Park? I want to be on the side of that one.
Well, I think if you want to be considered a great poker player, you've got to be able to do both. I think Barry's maybe a little bit jealous of Daniel's prowess at the tournament. So, it used to be the time, where the cash players just kept quiet and took the money, and the tournament players got the glory. But now it looks like just because Barry's a top cash player, he wants the cash players to get the glory and the money.
Right. There's a big debate amongst cash game players and tournament players. The cash game players, today, there is a little bit of dissension and a little bit of, ego bruising in the fact that all these tournament stars get all the, the glory or whatnot. But these days, the tournaments are so big that we're seeing them play in them. And they have, if they want all this fame and glory, play the tournaments. It's that simple.
That's what Howard Lederer did. I mean, he stopped playing cash. It is really that the money is in tournaments. I mean, the game of poker has evolved to a tournament game, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, years ago, maybe 5 years ago, it was really difficult to have make a successful living just playing tournaments. You had to supplement your income playing in cash games. Today, there are specialists who can play just tournament poker and make, a decent living.
All right, Daniel, Parg insisted I ask you this question.
I did not.
There's a $1,000 rebuy tournament at the World Series. Last year, you had 18 rebuys.
No. Absolutely incorrect.
This is the first time I heard this.
Right. 18 rebuys? What do I look like? I'm crazy? No. 27.
27, excuse me. All right. What was going on?
That is my crack cocaine of gambling. Like, I don't have very many vices. I don't play craps. I don't do all those kinds of things. But rebuys, I am addicted to, getting it all in with 10-3 offsuit against the guy who's got jacks and busting him and watching him almost cry and crumble while I giggle. It's just fun for me. And
you got third place in
that tournament.
What
this
did you do to
year.
insects when
I
you were a
had
kid?
I had the dealer laughing at me. This lady's going, "You are so stupid. You waste so much money. No more." I'm like, "I'll get the last laugh," and I ended up cashing for $105,000. So there.
Daniel, before you go, of course, World Series of Poker can be very tense. Do you ever get the shakes or the nerves? Does it ever bother you?
I tell you what, I mean, I've been playing long enough now where playing poker is just a lot like breathing. I mean, I'm comfortable in those environments. Playing for millions of dollars or whatever doesn't quite have that same adrenaline rush that it once did. But from a level of focus, I put a lot of pressure on myself. So getting knocked out early or just not doing well, that kind of gets under my skin. But I wouldn't call it nerves. I would just call it frustration.
Well, we'd like to test your nerves if you're willing to take a little challenge we call the knee trembler.
The knee trembler, okay. Oh no.
Here is your weapon, and we're gonna send you upstairs to our putting green.
Okay.
And we'll be back a little later with Daniel upstairs taking the knee trembler. That's all for part one. We'll be back in part two with Evelyn Ng, Off the Wall, and a lot more. Stay with us.